Do you have trouble mixing brown with acrylics without accidentally making a muddy mess? Well, by the end of this video, I'll show you exactly how to make deep, beautiful, rich browns without making mud or without resorting to buying brown out of the tube. For all the best lessons on painting with vibrant color with acrylics, be sure to subscribe to my channel and ring the bell so you don't miss a thing. Okay, so if you're familiar with my paintings, you know that I paint a lot of food, and a lot of my favorite foods happen to be brown. Cookies, brownies, wings, burgers, the list goes on and on. So I've had to get really good at making beautiful browns that don't just come out flat and one note. So I'm going to show you in this video exactly how I do that while I paint one of my favorite treats.
Okay, so instead of just showing you how to mix random shades of brown, I thought it would be a lot more fun to show you how to mix brown in context when you want to paint brown things. So if you know anything about my work, it's all food related. I love painting happy, nostalgic foods. And what better to show you how to paint brown stuff than to paint a Choco taco? What if you were painting a Choco taco and you were like, I don't know how to mix my own brown? This is going to show you exactly how to do that. So lots of different shades of brown going on in this here Choco taco, and I am going to show you how to mix all of them. So we've got our colors over here. You have probably seen these colors several times before. I use a pretty limited palette. I like to mix all my own colors from these colors right here. You might recognize these from the skin tones video. They are the same colors. They're really versatile. And yeah, so we've got, just a refresher, yellow light, yellow medium, quinacridone magenta, pyrrole orange, dioxazine purple, and titanium white. So the first thing we're going to want to do is we just want to get rid of the white in the Choco taco, right? So we've got two shades of brown going on here. We've got a lighter brown in the taco cone part, and then we've got a darker brown for the chocolate that's dripping on top. So let's go ahead and start with the lighter brown. So the way that I would mix that color is I would take some yellow, I would take some orange, a little more yellow, and then we need to neutralize with a little bit of purple. So brown is a neutral color. It's an earthy tone, right? Most of the time, a lot of the browns we think of are darker variations of orange. But in order to get it, we need to neutralize. And how you neutralize is you add a complementary color. Purple is the complement to yellow, which was in that original mixture. Purple also has a little bit of blue in it, which is the complementary color to orange. That's why this works so well for us. So added a little bit more yellow, and we have got this first brown. It's a little glare. Just want to show you what we've got here. And we're going to go ahead and put this right down here. So this is just going to be a quicker painting. But we do want to start with this lighter brown in the cone, right? So when you're painting brown, you definitely want to start with warmer colors and neutralize them like I just said, but there's also so many different shades of brown, right? You want to make sure that you know how to paint lots of them or mix a lot of them. So let's just fill this in. I could have mixed a little bit more. That's why it looks like it's drying a little bit. All right, so we also want to make sure that it looks like the light is hitting it. We're going to add those kind of cross marks a little bit later, but let's also add just a little bit of yellow. We'll go with yellow light this time. I want to make a lighter brown. Instead of adding white, I'm lightening it with yellow. I'm just adding a little bit of that over here for where the light hits it the most. And then if I wanted to darken it a little bit for over here, just going to remix that same color, and I would just use a little bit more purple to darken it. So already you're seeing, I'm just going to flip this here for you so there's a little less of a glare. You're already seeing different shades of brown, and we have just started. So I'm going to just put this on the bottom, bring in just a little bit of that darker brown for a little bit of texture. It's going to make sense when we add those marks in a little bit. So we also want to do the darker brown on top. So what we're going to do for that is we're going to take some of the orange And my favorite way to make a nice deep dark rich brown is orange and purple. Makes a nice deep dark chocolate brown. And we're going to put that up here, right around the edge of this Choco Taco, so it looks like it's dripping. If we need to mix more, we know exactly how to do it. Getting those drips. And we have some rich, beautiful browns that we didn't have to buy out of the tube. You don't have to buy brown. You can if you want to, but I don't buy brown paint anymore. I always mix my own. I think it just looks better, a little bit more vibrant when you mix your own. Okay. So right now we just got like the bones of our Choco Taco, right? But there's also some reflection up here. There's lighter brown. So what do we do when there's lighter brown? We add some yellow and we lighten it up. Yellow always makes it look like the light is hitting something. So now we've got some lighter brown going on. And now I'll show you what happens when you add white to your brown. It doesn't always make a nice lighter brown color. Sometimes it just makes it really pale. That's why I like to add yellow instead. So we'll just use this for that ice cream spot over here. Okay, so we've got our major sections of brown, right? We've got the taco part, we've got the Choco part, if you will. But now we need to add even more texture to the bottom. So I'm gonna use a different brush. You're gonna use a brush with a flatter edge. This will be good for making lines. We just wanna make sure, little bonus tip, just wanna make sure that I'm mixing enough of each of the browns to make them show up. So I'm gonna take some yellow and I'm gonna put it right over here. And maybe here so it's not in the glare. And I'm gonna take, we might need to add a little more yellow, but we'll take a little bit of orange, a little bit of purple. I'm just mixing those browns again, but we wanna mix a lighter version, right? So we can add some of this yellow light to make this nice lighter yellow. I want it to feel a little bit more golden, so I added some yellow and some orange, and then I'm going to add a little bit of white as well. Just a nice light brown. Maybe add a little bit more orange. Okay, and now I'm gonna go around this edge where that Choco Taco bite is taken out. I'm just continuing to use different shades of brown that I'm mixing with the same colors. But they're more vibrant than they would be if I was just using brown out of the tube. Okay, so we've added the texture marks for the cone on the Choco Taco, but doesn't really look like the light's hitting it here the same way that it does here. So let's add a little bit of white, make an even lighter, paler brown. We've got that yellow, we've got orange. We could even add a little more purple if we wanted it to feel a little bit more neutralized. And we'll just make it look even more like the light is hitting it. And go right over the top of some of these lines. So just looking at my photo, just paying attention to exactly what shade of brown are each of the elements of this Choco Taco, and mixing them accordingly. Feel free, paint along with me. Practice painting your own Choco Tacos. But I'm just looking at the photo. All right, so already you can see we've got lots of different shades of brown happening here. So let's let this dry a little bit. Just missed a few here. Let's let this dry, and then let's do what's going on the top. So I want to add the nuts that are on the top, and we'll use a slightly bigger brush, go back to something that's a little more rounded on the top. And in order to get a dark brown that's lighter than this but darker than this, we're going to go back to how we did the brown in the beginning, taking some orange, a little bit less purple this time, maybe a little bit of yellow, touch more purple. I do like the yellow medium for browns. It's a little warmer, which means it's a little closer to orange. That's why I'm favoring it a little bit more here. Okay, and it helps to make just nice, lighter, more like caramel color browns. So paying attention, okay, where are those nuts on the top? Just a different shade of brown. And we'll go back over them too with some of the darker brown just to make it look like they are sitting in the chocolate, because they are. All right, and before we go darker though, let's go even a little bit lighter with some lighter shades of brown. We can take some of this yellow medium, even lighten this even more, and bring in some of the highlights on the nuts. There's a little bit peeking out on each one. Doesn't have to be perfect. Remember, this is really not so much an exercise in painting a Choco Taco, but an exercise in mixing different shades of brown. So we've got different shades of brown. Now everything's popping through. It feels a little bit more three-dimensional, but let's go in and actually put some shadows. We did a dark brown for the chocolate, but between some of those nuts and underneath them, there's actually, some even darker shadows. So let's take care of those. So I'm gonna take my brush with the flatter edge again, like this, and I'm gonna mix a really, really dark brown by taking purple, and just a little bit of orange, and let it be really, really dark. Make sure it's darker than the other shade of brown, and I'm gonna go right over here where it's a little darker. Maybe even take some more purple. It's nice and dark over here. I'm just looking for where those shadows are. They're mainly in here. We can use this nice dark, dark brown, deep chocolate brown to make the shadows. Just paying attention to where the shadows in the photo are, and there's actually a shadow right underneath where the chocolate is dripping, and that's much darker too. So we want to make that nice, nice, deep, deep dark brown. And pull that along as well. And then we can add a little bit of yellow up here, maybe even a little bit more orange, make it slightly lighter. This is how you lighten a brown, and give a defining line underneath as well, just so it looks like it's sitting on something, not floating in midair. So now we need to add some of the highlights on the chocolate as well, right? It's not just a plain blob of brown, we need some highlights too. So the way we can do highlights on brown is we're gonna have to add a little bit of white. I'm talking about these highlights right in here. So we'll keep it zoomed in so we can see. And we might add a little bit of white over here. It's gonna pull the purple out from the brown, but we'll add a little bit of orange back in to warm it up. But we can keep some of this pale purple as our highlights. So there's highlights, especially on the bottom where it's dripping. Maybe even a little bit more yellow, just so they feel a little bit warmer. We want the highlights to feel a little bit warm. All right. And just go right around. It's almost like pale brown, if you will. And just a good way to practice mixing pale brown if you need to do highlights on any brown object, just in case you're not painting a Choco Taco. Some highlights in here too. All right, and maybe we'll even put some of the highlights on those golden nuts that are on there too. I'm just gonna add a little bit of orange to our palette, and again, just some nice like golden yellow brown, always neutralizing with the purple. Maybe even take a little bit of white. Purple just helps to, I like to call it, calm the color down so it doesn't feel so super saturated. And just get some of those golden brown highlights on some of those nuts. So it looks like the light's hitting it, but the focus of this painting really is brown, right? All right, so just to finish up our Choco Taco, let's add a little bit more of that vanilla, that white for the ice cream. We'll just take some white right over here. Just make some stripes up the middle. We'll add that dark chocolate stripe too. But while we've got the white, we'll add a little bit of white over here, a little bit of yellow to the white rather. And we'll just do some highlights on the cone. Just to really make it look like it's glowing. Gotta do justice to our Choco Taco, can't leave it unfinished. But making sure it looks like the light is hitting our brown object here. And I hope this is showing you too, even if you're painting something brown, it doesn't mean it has to be dull. Doesn't mean it has to be boring or not vibrant. I would say this is a brown painting, but it's pretty vibrant. All right, so we'll just do those last little brown areas for the ice cream part. And if you recall, the way we mix darker chocolate brown is with orange and purple. And we could warm it up with some magenta if we wanted to. Get that right in there. Got our nice stripe of chocolate. All right, and that is how you make brown and how you paint a Choco taco.
Okay, so now I want to hear from you. Tell me in a comment if you have had trouble mixing your own browns before, and if you usually buy them out of the tube, and if you're wondering what other colors I use to get brilliant and vibrant colors in all my paintings, make sure you download my quick start guide to acrylic painting. I list all my paints, all my materials. That is available for you to download right below this video. And as always, if you like this video, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and share this with your color-loving painting friends. And make sure to watch my other color mixing tutorials right here, and I will see you in the next video.